Kirk trying to win it to Thielen, caught at the 5!
I got 3 words for you. You like that?
No! No!
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Skull Network. My name is Nick, and welcome to the recap between the Minnesota Vikings and the Jacksonville Jaguars. As we all know, the Minnesota Vikings just pulled off a win in an absolute thriller of a game in overtime against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 27-24. This game was incredibly eventful, and there is quite a bit to talk about, so I don't think we should waste any time. We just need to get right into this. So before the game even got started, as most of us know, the main story was Eric Kendricks injuring what seemed to be his calf in some sort of fashion that kept him out for the entire game in pregame warmups. Now, at the time I'm recording this, there's no news on where his status stands for next week. Obviously, it's very early, but it was a big blow to the defense. Although the defense played very well, as we'll get to later, it was definitely hard losing the leader of that defense. And really quick as well, within a minute of the fourth quarter starting, Jeff Gladney also came out the field. From what I could tell, I didn't see him come back at all in the fourth quarter or in overtime, so there's also no status on him right now. Very early, but those are two of the major injuries that happened on this defense of players that have been playing, one, very incredible, and two, very well for a rookie. Let me start off by saying real quick that this game was absolutely one of those tale of two halves stories, with the Vikings only amassing 115 total yards in the first half and 20 yards on their first 3 drives. Obviously 78 on that fourth one after the Cam Dantzler interception, his first of his career, by the way. Congratulations to Cam Dantzler, but only 115 yards in the first half. Luckily, in the second half and overtime, things really heated up for the offense, and they put up 304 total yards. But it wasn't all about the offense today, and normally we don't expect this defense to play very well at all. They give up a lot of points and they don't force a lot of turnovers, but today was definitely a different story. Now, of course, when you're facing a team that has lost 10 straight games, you expect your defense to play well in some regard, and they definitely did. The Vikings defense forced 4 turnovers today against the Jacksonville offense, 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles and fumble recoveries. One of those interceptions, like I already said, being Cameron Dantzler's first of his career. And let's also not forget that safety that happened in the fourth quarter that was very crucial to how this game turned out. But just because the defense forced a lot of turnovers and kept the offense in the game, that doesn't mean that there weren't quite a few issues. Obviously, as we know, the injuries that we talked about. But at the same time, tackling was very poor. James Robinson made a lot of our defense look kind of like children for a good amount of the game. Let's also not forget a lot of the issues that Chris Boyd continues to have. I understand he's not supposed to be in the game, but he's in due to injuries to obviously the cornerbacks that are above him. But on that first drive, he dropped a very easy interception on a very poor pass by Mike Glennon, and obviously that went into the hands of Laviska Shenault. And then on the ensuing drive, after the Vikings had to punt, he missed a very easy tackle right at the base of where the ball was caught. And it was just a really weird game for Chris Boyd. I don't think he will be seeing the field much at all next year as long as our corners, stay healthy. But enough with individual performances. We need to talk about this last fourth quarter and overtime sort of time, because this is when things got really, really fun. Let's break it down. And we'll actually start in the third quarter because obviously, as we know, the second half started with that pick 6 that Kirk Cousins threw. And I want to talk about it a little bit because obviously people love to rat on Kirk about it. I don't know if many of you know, but quarterbacks are totally allowed, and it's totally cool to throw the ball when your receiver is not looking, because the expectation is that they will turn around and end up making the catch. And that has happened multiple times this year on Kirk throws. He's thrown the ball before the receiver was even looking, they turn around, made the catch. Pretty sure Chad Beebe did it last week. Adam Thielen's done it multiple times this year. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. At that point, everyone had lost hope, but as we know, hope should never be lost with this team, especially these last 2 weeks. Kirk proceeded to get the ball back, of course, and drive down the field. And he's done this multiple times this year. Unfortunately, it's had to be like this where he has made a very bad play, whether it be a bad fumble, bad interception, sack, whatever you may want it to be, but he's come back almost that next drive or within the next couple drives, and he's driven down the field and scored and gotten this team back in the game. And that's really what was the turning point here. If Kirk had just, fallen off the face of the earth after that interception to start the second half, we wouldn't be having a conversation like this. Then after that, Jaguars failed to get a first down, had to punt. We came back, scored again, giving us a 19-16 lead, which many fans at the beginning of the game didn't think was very possible. Now, this is where things got weird. Towards the end of the third quarter, the Jaguars ended up fumbling, and then the Vikings drove the ball down to the 2-yard line, and then Dalvin Cook ended up fumbling. And many people will say it was Kirk Cousins, and this one, in my opinion, could go either way. It was very weird. It looked like he was trying to hand the ball off, but it looked more so like Dalvin was reaching out to get the ball from him instead of giving him a pocket. Really weird situation. In hindsight, it kind of ended up working out because that next drive, we ended up getting the safety. Then it was a punt battle for most of the rest of the fourth quarter until obviously the most important part. The Vikings started one of their final drives of regulation at the Jacksonville 44, took 5 plays, and got into field goal range, which was interesting because Dan Bailey up to this point had already missed 2 extra points. Let me tell you, it was a 48-yarder. I didn't have the most faith in the guy, but He nailed it and gave us a 24-16 lead, which should make you pretty safe, or at least feel safe, because that's an 8-point game. Jacksonville would have to go down 1 and score to get a 2-point conversion, which always isn't the most sure thing. So what did they do? Of course, they went down the field, 1, scored, 2, got the 2-point conversion. So what did Minnesota decide to do? Drive down the field, get into field goal range. 51-yarder, a little tougher, but Dan Bailey's a professional. You expect a lot out of him, even after missing 2 extra points, and of course he misses it. There's not a lot of time on the clock left. You think things are just going to end up going into overtime, which they end up doing, but not without a small scare. Jacksonville drives down the field, somehow, again, lining up for a 62-yard field goal. It's short, and it's also wide left, so we go into overtime. The Vikings win the toss, and usually you think, oh cool, our offense has been playing really well this second half, in every single aspect. This is going to be great, we're going to win the game, and then you go 3 and out and you punt. But who knows, I don't know how, but the football gods were shining down on the Vikings somehow, because they did not deserve to win this game in most facets. Mike Glennon throws an interception on the Jaguars' first and only possession of the overtime, which is picked off by Harrison Smith. The Vikings then start at the Jacksonville 46, great field position, take 11 plays, get down inside the 5, and they line up for Dan Bailey. Mr. makes some, not all, I don't know. But this is a 23-yard field goal, and this is the thing that you expect him to always make. Unless, of course, you're Blair Walsh, 27-yarders are a little tough. But in the end, Dan Bailey, of course, as we know, hit the field goal, giving us the win. Not without all of that blood pressure racing action that seems to be happening a way more than is necessary. And with that win, that has now brought the Vikings to a 500 record at 6-6 after starting off 1-5. Let me tell you guys, this is absolutely ridiculous. I know that not all the wins that we've been getting lately have been pretty, but man, have they been exciting. And obviously you guys will be seeing this on Monday, so all of the Sunday games will have already happened. But at the moment, there's 4 minutes and 18 seconds left in the second quarter of the Arizona game, and they are tied with the Rams. But as we know, if the Cardinals end up losing, which I don't know at the moment, you guys will know, I'll put the score down here, the Vikings will be the number 7 seed in the playoffs after starting 1-5. You know how ridiculous that is? I'll do some research here, and I will put a list of all the teams that have started 1-5 and have ever made the playoffs. If there's no list, I'll put a picture of a cat or something. But this certainly was one of the crazier games of the year. And we have to give a shout out again to the rookie, the man, the myth, the legend, Justin Jefferson, who was screwed over a little bit in overtime. I will say that. But as a whole, Justin just continues to impress and prove why he is the number 1 receiver out of this already stacked wide receiver class from this last year's draft. 9 receptions, 121 yards, and another touchdown. This was his 5th 100-yard receiving game of the season, which breaks the Minnesota Vikings rookie record. And yes, that does include guys like Randy Moss. And like I said, he got screwed over a little bit on the 47 whatever yard bomb it was at the beginning of overtime when we were trying to get out of that 3rd and long situation. Pass interference or not, I mean, it negated quite a bit of yards there, but at the same time, Justin played extremely well. And it was very fun to see him continue to just absolutely dominate defenses, no matter who was put in front of him. And Dalvin Cook came back a little bit this week, 120 yards rushing, but it was on 32 attempts. It's not the highest average in the world, but you like to see him go over 100, as well as 59 receiving yards to go on top of that, giving him 179 total. He continues to lead the league in scrimmage yards and touchdowns still, even without getting any today. Whew, okay, I think that might be everything that I got. Guys, let me know if I missed anything. Let me know in the comments down below, please, because that was a lot. And that is going to wrap everything up between the Minnesota Vikings and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, this season has been absolutely insane, but this is actually one of the coolest seasons that I've ever seen. And 13-3 in 2017 with Case Keenum was a hell of a ride, and so was 2009 with Favre. But starting off 1-5 and now being, you know, if the Cardinals lose, in a playoff spot, at least in week 13, absolutely ridiculous, and I just can't wait to see how the rest of the season pans out. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit the button down below to subscribe, and if you guys like the video, make sure you give it a like. If you want to share the video, go ahead, share it with whoever you want. Share it with the crack dealer on the corner, that's your best option. You guys already know. My name is Nick, and this has been the recap between the Minnesota Vikings and the Jacksonville Jaguars. 27-24, quite the thriller. Once again, my name is Nick, and I will see you guys in NFL Week 14 picks coming out on Wednesday. Adios.